All right, guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is all about the playtest of the AG sole plate for the Nike Mercurial series. Now, this happens to be the Air Zoom Superfly 10, but this is going to be relevant to both the Vapor and the Superfly because it's the same boot, obviously with or without the little collar. Now, you guys will know I really like this silo. I think it's very good. It takes very little time to break in, so I'm probably really going to have a lot of positive things to say about the upper experience, and I'm really excited to see what the sole plate feels like because I am a huge fan of the way that this looks, especially with the wave tech, kind of that wave pattern or wave tech or whatever on the Air Zoom unit. That'll give me a little bit of extra propulsion going forward, or that's at least a little bit more aggressive feeling underfoot, but the studs that are all conical are gonna be super, super cool. So let's jump straight into it, get these on feet, and then we'll rock and roll with the session. All right, so popping these on, these are gonna be just slightly more difficult to get on than the Vapors are, but honestly, not super concerned about that. Let me just flip this so I can see it. Awesome. All right, here we go. So usually what I just do is kind of get the sock as high as I can, put two fingers right where my heel goes in, and then pop it down like that. And the boots are slightly tighter, I think, than the Vapors just because of that sock material around the ankle. At least that's what it feels like. Maybe that's just like a, I don't know. What's the term? Placebo effect? But I do think that these fit very, very well straight out of the box. True to size with my 9 US fits perfectly, especially with the thin grip socks from WeFoot, which is why I tend to use a lot. I get a lot of questions actually asking, hey, you know, why do you wear the thin ones all the time and not the thick ones? So the thin ones are actually like super, super thin, which I love, and they last forever, which is crazy. And the thing that, kind of the reason why I do that is because when I break a boot in, I like my boots to be really tight, and so I wear thinner socks so that it doesn't absolutely crush my foot, and then as the boots break in, I start to wear the thicker ones as well. So that's just a justification for why I buy both. But yeah, 20% off in the discount code down below as well. Okay, there we go. Boots are tied up. They feel good, nice, love that. And this colorway is not my favorite, I will admit. As you guys know, I am a huge fan of the color blue, but this one just like doesn't do it for me that much. But it doesn't really matter as long as they perform really well. So without further ado, let's rock and roll. All right, here we go. A little bit of footwork just to warm up. We'll go through two different variations. A little icky shuffle at first, just get a sense of what these boots, yeah, see already, man, this sole plate, so balanced. It's like a better version of the Vapor 15 Superfly 9. Oh, say that's awesome. Yeah, with the Air Zoom, they feel so grounded, very stable, and they've got that little bit of bounce to them. So, man, Vapor AG or Superfly AG, nice, nice work. Yeah, I love this. So from a performance perspective, the upper as well, that's something that a lot of people were concerned about with the grip knit and atom knit, as opposed to the Vaporposit Plus upper. And I will admit, for my foot shape, they feel better from a performance perspective because they actually fit. But from a lockdown perspective, as you're turning, which we'll do in just a second, as you're turning and making really, really sharp cuts, that's where, because the atom knit and the grip knit are so thin, you do get, maybe for thinner foot shapes, you might get a little bit of rollover, a little bit of, you know, kind of lateral instability. But for me as a wide-footed player, because I already kind of blow the boots out in the sense, like I already, how would you describe that? My wide foot stretches these boots as wide as I think they can possibly get. And so I don't have that because the material's already all the way stretched out. Make sense? All right, this one's pretty simple. Just back and forth 3 different times. Get a really good sense of, it's kind of 90%, if you will, cutting right on the line, seeing how that performance is, how the push off is. Nice, love that. Yeah, a little bit of slippage in the forefoot, but rollover, not slippage. My feet are stuck onto the sole plate, but little tiny bit of rollover. That could be because my feet are a little bit wider than these boots are meant to be. In general, my feet kind of spill over the side. of the sole plate, but I'm fine with that because it's pretty minor, and because the sole plate feels grounded and stable in there, not much to complain about, to be honest. All right, so before we jump into a lot of the dribbling, footwork, shooting, striking the ball, etc., I just want to take a second to explain why I think this is one of the best uppers on the market. I will be doing a best uppers of 2024 review or video, I guess, because I think it's worth going through each of the uppers, explain why they're so impressive, etc. And I will tell you already, as a spoiler, this upper is easily in the top 5. And the reason for that is because GripKnit 1 is incredible. It's an incredible technology. It's so simple, but it has so many different aspects of it that make it really nice. For instance, barefoot touch on the ball. It's super, super water resistant. So it's water resistant just by nature. So that's why there isn't like an ACC tech on this boot. And it's super pliable. So you get the barefoot feeling, you get the thinness, and in some aspects, you get the ability for the boots not to overstretch, because the GripKnit will flex and mold, but it doesn't like overstretch like a leather boot does. You add Atom Knit to that, which is in the midfoot, which is where my foot is the widest, and the boots stretch so well. So striking surface, passing surface, any sort of striking you do on the ball is not only really seamless, but it's also very clean. So you don't have any distractions. There's nothing on the upper that's gonna cause any sort of weirdness to it. And I do genuinely feel, this is a personal statement, not a matter of fact, but I personally feel that the GripKnit is like the absolute perfect amount of grip to give me just that extra little bit of bend, control. When I'm juggling the ball, I feel like the ball is just glued to my foot in the best possible way. So the upper is amazing on these, and I know you guys are probably here more for the sole plate, but we will get into that right now with the dribbling. All right, one of my favorite dribbling drills. This one's awesome, super fun, lots of different movements in it. Keeps you on your toes, great warm up as well. So we're gonna talk a lot, because I'll be doing a lot of like V-cuts, rollovers, all that stuff. So we'll talk a little bit about how the sole plate feels with the ball, as well as how it is with like really responsive cutting and stuff. So with these types of movements, you're gonna get such a nice feeling under feet. Oy. And forward and back, and finish out this section. 1, 2, and then we'll get through here. Yeah, lovely. Yeah, that's awesome. See, obviously we talked about the upper being amazing, but the sole plate, especially with these turns, so on an AG pitch that has basically zero forgiveness, a turn where I'm coming up, turning, and I'm planting and pivoting, that's a lot. I can pivot a bunch with the round conical studs. And that to me is such a blessing, because as I get older, as just for safety in general, just go and buy the AG model instead of the FG model if you play on a surface like this more than 30% of your time, because these will be totally fine for FG. I actually posted a photo that Lukaku put up, and he was training on an FG pitch, and he had this exact colorway, everything, and he was wearing AG on FG, and he's like the top of the top of the top, right? Like amazing striker, all that stuff. So for me, it's not a performance detriment to wear AG on FG, but as far as this sole plate on this AG surface, Nike, fantastic. And I would also say that it's a pretty significant upgrade from the last generation, which obviously was the first iteration of GripKnit, the first iteration of the Air Zoom unit. But I do feel like they've absolutely made the sole plate much more ergonomic, and they've made it insanely more comfortable underfoot, which makes such a big difference when doing any sort of fast movements. Because when you're on your toes, I've said this a lot, Air Zoom isn't my favorite technology on the market for sole plates. However, playing on a hard AG pitch with the air zoom unit and it being manageable and not feeling like you're stepping on like a Bosu ball every time, mint, because it gives you that little extra plushness when playing. So not a lot of complaints about this. There's not a lot of things that I would say I would improve other than like, generally I want a wider football boot and a wider base. I think that would make my life easy, but I know that that's not the case with a Vapor or Superfly. So I don't know, small complaints. All right, little warm up for the shooting. So touch and around the pole. And then I'm just gonna bend it into, ideally the far post probably. I might hit a couple near post ones, but we got 4 on each side just to get a little bit of warm up going and get that kind of that bend and curl as I start to do a little bit more of the aggressive dribbling and shooting action. But again, grip knit is one of my favorite striking surfaces. I think it is so malleable. It's so perfect around your foot and it's easily, I need to get that out of my feet. See how that, okay, point of coaching. See how that really stunted the power? Like accuracy, I get, wasn't quite there, but it stunts your power if you don't, if it's like underneath you. Shooting always, yeah, head down and whatever, but it's getting that shot, or excuse me, getting that first touch out of your feet is so important. So here we go. There we go. Better. Oh, wow. Okay, you get the idea though. But yeah, grip knit, especially here on the Superfly and the Vapor, because the grip knit kind of covers the entirety of the inside of your foot, basically the entire lacing system and into the forefoot, regardless of where you strike the ball, you're gonna get that little extra kind of whip and grip to it, which is so enjoyable to play with. I do also think that compared to a lot of other speed boots on the market, the Vapor and the Superfly are by far the most comfortable, aside from Scudetta from Sokito is really comfy, the Messi F50. But other than that, a lot of the other speed boots on the market are still kind of erring on that, like as responsive as we can possibly get. So you sacrifice a little bit of that comfort. Whereas with these, I feel like you get just such a nice fit and feel. Ooh, got to open up my hips a little bit more on the entry there, get a little bit wider. But yeah, honestly, super comfy. They're not my favorite Nike boot, and that's only because the GX fits my foot better. So I'm gonna take the GX over this any day, simply because that boot is like one of the most comfortable boots I've ever tried on my feet. However, I would happily wear the Vapor, and I do think that for most people actually, the AG model is actually just better in general, just for a lot of reasons. I think the AG model just offers a little bit more pivot power. It's safer. As good as the FG sole plate is, I would not wear it on an AG surface. It is too aggressive. So that's why I think if you can get your hands on a pair of the AG, you'll be fine on both FG and AG. I think most people should just buy the AG model. All right, little fun dribbling one here. So I'm gonna do a little pattern, bounce off the wall, kind of pass fake through these cones here. And then I'm gonna take 2 different, I've got 4 balls, 2 will be inside whip, and then 2 will be outside down the line and cut a cross goal. Not for a cross, but for a shot. Usually I would cross it in most scenarios, but we're gonna be selfish because I'm the only one out here. All right, here we go. Yeah, I really like how these perform. I'm feeling a little bit of squeezing on the outside of my foot. So it is one of those things that with a new pair of football boots, particularly a Vapor, I'm probably gonna take them off after this drill before we go over to the other side. But the fit and the feel is really there. And I understand why a lot of people would consider this boot of the year, because it really is. Really, right at the keeper's hands. Bummer. It is really fantastic. So yeah, but again, wider foot types. Yes, these will fit you over time, but that's why I always say I recommend the GX2 or the Luna 2 if you want a high cut. if you're a wider footed player, because objectively they will fit you better. Yes, great finish. Trying to think of what else. Oh, the heel area, it's okay. It's good, but it's not amazing. That's one thing that I think with the Vapor and the Superfly, I don't find the heel area to give me many issues. However, I do think that it isn't a boot that screams, ooh, just a little bit more there. It isn't a heel area that screams, you know, Asics or Mizuno comfort. So it'll fit most people, I think, because it's pretty neutral and pretty bland. But I can imagine, and I've had in the past, issues on the very bottom with slippage back and forth, because the upper does such a good job of wrapping your foot, but then the ankle area isn't very thin. It's very just like neutral and U-shaped. So if you have a thin heel like I do, you're gonna get kind of that micro slippage. And I've had blood blisters on the bottom, on the inside and the outside of my feet, on the outside and the bottom of my ankles, and my heel, because of that sort of overly neutral heel area. Not quite the case on these ones because they're a little bit tighter, but particularly on other Nike models, something that's happened in the past. All right, here we go. Last little one. Oh, well, before free kicks. Basically this pops up, which is awesome. So you turn it upside down. So this will pop up, little touchdown, go outside, cut, fake, or do any sort of move through the cone, and then again to the right and to the left down the line, or cut inside to shoot. So same idea, just a little bit shorter distance here, less dribbling, and a little bit more about touch. Ooh, had a bit of sting on it. It's so frustrating. This is why I love goal shots, but also why I hate them, because that shot, I don't think a lot of keepers would have saved. But it hit the goal shot, so it doesn't feel satisfying. Damn it. It doesn't feel as good, which it doesn't have to, because it's all about the process. Hey, yes. Yeah, man, grip knit. It's probably, outside of like Mizuno made in Japan leather, grip knit's probably my favorite upper on the market. Stay tuned for the 2024 best uppers, because there we go, nice. Best uppers, because that will be definitive. And there's a lot of good uppers this year, a lot. Some really interesting ones, some ones that I think are not as good as people think they are, and then ones like this that are absolutely class. All right, let's hit some dead balls. Free kick first, and then crossbar challenge, and then we'll wrap it up. All right, free kicks right from kind of this area here. Let me get this out of the camera. Beautiful. In between kind of the yellow line, anywhere in here, really trying to get up and over the wall into that near post, one step. And this is where the grip knit gives you, in my opinion, some of the best finesse grip. So like that, I barely put any power on that, and it just, you could see the ball just like, it really, really comes right off the foot super well. So as long as you get that little like flick motion, you're gonna get so much whip on the ball without doing pretty much anything as far as like leg power. Show you the same thing. See that? And that was even more aggressive, and that went way wider than I wanted it to, obviously, but you get the idea. Like, you really don't have to, you need the right technique. That comes first for obvious reasons. A boot's not gonna make you a better player, but that extra 1-2%, or maybe even 5% with the grip knit in that case, just like boom. That wasn't as whipped, but you get what I mean. It just, oh, it comes off the foot so perfectly. These balls, to be fair too, these miter footballs are incredible for that as well, because they have a little bit of that stickiness to them, which I absolutely love. That's why I only play with miter now. But yeah, right foot, let's rock and roll. Right foot, I reckon, is gonna be a little bit more technique based. Yes, I do have the power on my right foot, but I wanna make sure I really control it. Same idea, same spot. I might hit the second one, try to get a little bit of dip in it, but this first one and the last one are probably gonna be a little bit curved. So here we go, same idea. Oh, hello. Kept my chest too far up on that one. A little bit more width to it. This one I am gonna try and do a little bit more of a dipped shot and see how we go. Definitely a little bit of a run up too. Here we go. Oh, that didn't work out as well as I wanted it to. Okay, let's go back to the original technique. Really wanna try and whip and bend with that one step up. Here we go, last one. Grip knit, 3, 2, 1. Oh, man alive. I hit the crap out of that for no reason. Okay, that's frustrating. I really don't want to go fetch that ball, but I'm going to have to. Let's get one more, get a good clean one. I'm literally just gonna like little bend, see how much kind of force I can get behind it. Here we go. Man, that's crazy. I didn't even put anything on it, and it just that perfect texture. All right. Crossbar challenge, and then we'll wrap it up. All right, you know the vibe. We're gonna go left foot first this time. I feel like I've gone right foot for a lot of these recently in the playtest. Just a little clip. Yep, bang. That's pretty nice too. Sweet. Oh, right foot, whoops. Little ping. Oh, trying to go for upper top corners. I'm still on that free kick thing. All right, you get the idea. That's only 2. You only get 2. Uncut, that's the rules. All right, 1 out of 2, pretty decent. Let's hop into final thoughts. All right, final thoughts on the Nike Zoom Superfly 10 in AG, or artificial ground, artificial grass, whatever you wanna say. I like these a lot. I am not a huge fan of the high cut collar. As you guys know, I don't really like high cut football boots. The only boot that I think is actually kind of awesome in high cut is the laceless Tequila, but that's only because it feels like a Magista 1 to me. Even better maybe than a Magista 1. But let's go through some of the aspects of the Superfly 10 as I get them on my feet. So I did take them off once during the course of the session, right when I said I was going to, so between those two shooting drills. And that's only because the width of the football boots are not quite up to par with what I need right now. They do break in just as the Vapor has, and the Vapor did, but with the extra structure around the collar, yes, it is a little bit more snug than the Vapor is, just because there isn't that like immediate super nice stretchy material, or nice stretch in and around the heel and the ankle area. It's marginal, it's like 2%. So if you're a super wide-footed player, I probably wouldn't even recommend these or the Vapor anyway. I'd probably just say go with the GX, because you're gonna get basically the same experience, but with a much wider fit in general. Sole plate on these is really good. It's really fantastic. No, it's not my favorite. Do I wish this didn't have air zoom in it? Not necessarily, because I think that's what this, now that this is the same material and upper as the GX2, the thing that really differentiates it, obviously, is the air zoom unit, aside from maybe it being a little bit more narrow. Now, from what you should buy from the FG versus the AG, I would highly recommend going with the AG, simply because I know most of you watching this video probably play on AG majority of the time, or at least half of your playing. It is totally fair for you to be like, no, I want the FG model. That's fine. I just think that from a safety perspective and just from an enjoyment of playing perspective, like there's way more stud pressure on the FG model than there is on the AG model. So I don't know why you would go with the FG if there's that much more stud pressure. So that's why a boot like this isn't going to give you as much stud pressure, which for me is an awesome thing. Like I'd much rather wear something like this that's super clean underfoot, nice to turn, nice to do all that stuff. Overall thoughts about the Zoom Superfly 10, they're very, very good. I put this in a similar category to the Vapor just because they're the same boot pretty much, just with and without the collar. I do think, though, the Vapor is a better football boot just because, number one, it's cheaper, and why would you pay 20 or 30 extra dollars for this? If you like this little extra collar, or you think, oh, it's going to be great for AG because it's going to keep the pellets out, sure, like, go for it. Buy these, no problem. I just think this silo does a really nice job of doing what it does best, and that is feeling really agile, really locked in, really fast, and quite little distractions, despite there being a little bit of that grip element on the bottom, or on the top, I mean. So overall thoughts, it's a good football boot. It's a really good football boot. It's not my favorite because it has the collar, and that just irks me a little bit. I just don't like high-cut football boots. I think that is just really annoying. I get why you would wear these, though, and I know obviously a lot of pros wear the Superflies, so fair enough. My whole gripe with the Superfly, this will be a quick tangent here, but my whole annoyance and gripe with the Superfly in general is in the fact that the Superfly used to represent the epitome and the pinnacle of what Nike could produce from a technology perspective. They've gotten pretty lazy with the Superfly name, and I'm a little disappointed because I think the Vapor should exist as it does now. So the Vapor should still be aggressive, fast, fun, really thin, speed boot, focused, all that stuff. But in my opinion, the Superfly needs to introduce something different other than probably less than 3 cents worth of Flyknit in and around the collar area. And the fact that they call this a Superfly when in the past the Superfly has had scent studs and carbon fiber and insane Tasian synthetics with the Flywire upper or Flywire cables and all these like insane things. Sure, they're not super comfortable, but guess what? A ton of people bought them. You know why? Because it's cool. It's the same reason why the Puma Ultra 5 Carbon is one of my favorite boots this year. Not because it's comfortable, not because I like wearing it, because it's the hottest tech, it's the coolest tech. And as a boot nerd and as a boot enthusiast, I want to see companies be a little bit more adventurous when it comes to their top-end stuff. Just like a car company has their Halo model, like McLaren recently just announced, actually like 3 days ago, just released their W1. Okay, if you're a petrol head, you understand why the W1 isn't as exciting as like the P1 that came before it, because there was like Speedtail and all this other shit in between. The point being, though, is that a company like that, or a company like Audi who produce the R8, and then they have a bunch of other cars, right? Like they have all the regular SUVs and sedans and everything. And then they have their Halo model, which is what came out for the original Iron Man movie. And it was like so cool and so aggressive, and it wasn't for everybody, but it doesn't matter because that's the best stuff that they could put into a single car. And that's what I think for the boot market, the Superfly should be. So that's why I applaud, and even Adidas, man, even Adidas did something really cool with their sole plates, with the, oh, what's that tech called? I'm gonna blank on the name of it, but you get what I'm saying, with the little pads on the forefoot, because it feels different. It's edgy, it's out there, it's something different, and I wish the Superfly was that. So that's why I sort of have like a muted response to, these are really comfortable, I really like them, but I always have in the back of my head, they're a Superfly, and the Superfly should be better than that. And the Superfly should be something, even if it's less comfortable, I don't even care because I want something that's more exciting. Rant over. Thanks for watching, guys. Like the video if you got value from it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You will see a 1-month review of these bad boys. I will be testing these quite a bit and beating the crap out of them out here on the AG pitch. I will test them on FG as well over the course of this testing period, just so that you guys get a sense of, and I can talk a little bit more legitimately about how they perform on FG, but I already know they do. So that's going to wrap today's up. Go down in the description box below if you are interested in any of the equipment I use on a daily basis, including the grip socks, the balls, the footballs, the cones, skill shot, rebounder, all that stuff you can find in the link down in the description box below. And if you do purchase something, I just want to say thank you, because it does actually really help the channel, and it does help me continue to provide the best type of content for you guys as well. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. As always, be awesome. Take care. I'll see you guys in the next video.